एवरीवन एंड वेलकम टू शिफ्टिंग गियर्स। आज के वीडियो में मेरे साथ है टाटा मोटर्स की नई अल्ट्रॉज DCA। DCA स्टैंड्स फॉर ड्यूअल क्लच ऑटोमेटिक। ये टाटा अल्ट्रॉज प्रीमियम हैचबैक का ऑटोमेटिक वेरिएंट है। इट गेट्स अ प्रॉपर ऑटोमेटिक एंड नॉट अ बजट फ्रेंडली AMT। इस गाड़ी की कीमत शुरू होती है फ्रॉम ₹8,59,900 and it goes all the way up to 9,89,900। आपको इस टाटा अल्ट्रॉज DCA के टोटल 7 वेरिएंट्स मिल रहे हैं and that also includes the dark theme, the all black Tata Altroz DCA. So there is a lot that you can choose from in terms of the equipment list that you desire with this Altroz dual clutch automatic. इस वीडियो में हमारा फोकस होने वाला है ऑन द ड्राइविंग बिट्स। हाउ डज दिस ऑटोमेटिक गियरबॉक्स परफॉर्म इन योर डे टू डे ड्राइविंग लाइफ एंड इज इट एक्चुअली गुड इनफ, इज इट वर्थ ऑल द हाइप दैट इट हैज क्रिएटेड। ऑल्सो हम आपको वेरी क्विकली ये दिखाएंगे क्या बदलाव किए गए हैं ऑन द आउटसाइड एंड ऑन द इनसाइड। व्हाट आर द डिफरेंट फीचर्स दैट यू गेट विद दिस टाटा अल्ट्रॉज DCA। So stay tuned, and if you haven't till now, subscribe to the Shifting Gears channel.
The Altroz was always a good looking hatchback और अभी आपको इस DCA अपडेट के साथ एक नया Opera Blue पेंट ऑप्शन मिल रहा है। But this blue shade is not exclusive to the DCA variant। ये पेंट ऑप्शन आप Altroz के और किसी भी वेरिएंट के साथ खरीद सकते हो। On the outside, nothing much has changed, just a new paint scheme and a small little DCA badge on the tailgate. This variant doesn't really shout out that it comes with a premium gearbox option. There are no changes to the bumper and there are no body decals either. And we think this works in the favor of this Tata Altroz DCA. On the tailgate, you have this small little branding for the DCA gearbox. This is the only giveaway that you are looking at the dual clutch automatic variant. Headlamp remains the same. You get LED DRLs but no additional use of LEDs. You get a projector headlamp setup with smoke effect and a high mounted front fog lamp. Tail lamp remains the same, covered with this black applique. It looks like a nice mask and the tail end section of the Altroz is really good looking in our opinion. Alloy wheels are 16 inches in size and you get a dual tone theme for these units. Front fascia remains the same, no changes over here, still looks like the same vehicle which was launched years back. The DLO section gets a nice gloss black underline and it does stand out even on this dark blue shade. The rear end section again unchanged and still very good looking. Rear door handle जो है still uniquely positioned on the C-pillar and we really like this. And another big highlight of this Tata Altroz are the 90-degree opening doors which allow for easy ingress and egress. इंटीरियर कैबिन में भी आपको कोई रेवोल्यूशनरी चेंज नजर नहीं आएगा। द Altroz continues with the same color theme. On the dashboard you get a dual tone theme with a silver mid pad and you get a good looking spacious interior cabin and it does feel like a proper premium hatchback on the inside. Steering wheel is of the flat bottom design और यहाँ पे आपको cruise control buttons भी मिलेंगे। The biggest highlight on the inside is this gear stick for this DCA automatic gearbox. It looks good, fits in your hand just right and the finishing is up to the mark. Center console remains unchanged with a floating touchscreen infotainment, fully automatic climate control, plenty of storage spaces, very useful cup holders between the front seats and an armrest which can slide forward and backward and it also opens to allow you to store extra oddities underneath. इंफोटेनमेंट सिस्टम इस्तेमाल करने के लिए काफ़ी आसान है लेकिन टच रिस्पॉन्स, टच फील और स्क्रीन रेजोल्यूशन जो है और इम्प्रूव किया जा सकता है। इवन द रिवर्स कैमरा फीड कैन बी मच बेटर देन व्हाट इट इज़ कंपेयर्ड टू कॉम्पिटिशन। इस गाड़ी के साथ आपको एक डिजिटल प्लस एनालॉग इंस्ट्रूमेंट क्लस्टर मिल जाता है। While the digital display is good enough, I really dislike the speedometer unit on this Altroz DCA. It just looks dated and it does not fit right on a modern car in 2022. इस गाड़ी के साथ आपको लेदरेट सीट कवर्स मिलने वाले हैं. यू कैन नोटिस यू हैव द वाई मोटिव पैटर्न and contrast stitching on these seat covers. The seats are very supportive and they are very spacious, and thanks to the dark color theme, these seats are going to be very easy to clean and maintain throughout your ownership cycle. Rear seat bench is very spacious and it is relatively flat. Also, you get an armrest over here and there are two adjustable headrests for the back seat occupants. For comfort and convenience, in the back seat you get AC vents and a 12-volt charging socket. Luggage carrying capacity is quite good. आप आपके रोड ट्रिप का सामान यहाँ पे आसानी से कैरी कर पाओगे. And if you want to carry taller items, you can completely remove the parcel tray and you can also fold the second row seat.
So this part of the video is for those who want to understand the performance of this Altroz DCA. So I'm going to kick the throttle pedal from a standstill. Check it out. Check out the acceleration, check out the rev range, check out the speedometer needle, and also listen to the engine. I am going to shut up. Let's do that one more time. I am driving it in standard D mode, not making use of the Tiptronic functionality. So in 3, 2, 1, full pedal to the metal. So one more acceleration attempt, and this time I am going to make use of the manual control for this Altroz DCA. I am going to shift using the gear stick. So check this out. So guys, now you know what has changed on the outside and on the inside of this Tata Altroz DCA. You also know the price. Now let's focus on the driving bit. Let's first talk about the specifications. अभी Tata Altroz के साथ आपको टोटल 3 इंजन ऑप्शंस मिलते हैं. You get a 1.2 liter naturally aspirated petrol. You get a 1.2 liter turbo petrol. And you get a 1.5 liter turbo diesel. लेकिन ये जो DCA dual clutch automatic है, you get this only with the 1.2 liter naturally aspirated petrol engine. Now we don't know why Tata thinks this gearbox is more suited to this engine, because we were expecting that the company would offer this dual clutch automatic with the more powerful 1.2 liter I-turbo variant. अभी ये जो 1.2 लीटर रेवोट्रॉन इंजन है, दिस इज अ 1199 cc 3-cylinder motor and it produces 86 PS of power at 6000 RPM and 113 Newton meters of torque at 3300 RPM. Now you know why we were expecting this gearbox to be mated to the I-turbo, because this power and torque output is not all that great. The I-turbo 1.2 liter 3-cylinder motor pumps out 110 PS of power and 140 Newton meters of torque. इस गाड़ी का जो 1.5 liter diesel variant है, that produces 90 PS of power and 200 Newton meters of torque. Now this gearbox that you are getting, this DCA dual clutch automatic, it is a 6-speed unit. और Tata Motors का ये कहना है that this gearbox is specifically made for India. It has been developed keeping in mind the Indian driving conditions. Now there are quite a few engineering features with this DCA dual clutch automatic. जैसे कि आपको इस गियरबॉक्स के साथ एक वेट क्लच मिल जाता है विथ एक्टिव कूलिंग टेक्नोलॉजी. सो बिकॉज ऑफ दिस इवन इन बम्पर टू बम्पर ट्रैफिक आपका ये जो ड्यूल क्लच ऑटोमेटिक गियरबॉक्स है इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू हीट अप. एंड ऑल्सो थ्रू आउट द कंट्री वेर एवर यू ड्राइव इट, मे इट बी द cold weather conditions in the north or the dry deserts in the west or the humid conditions in the south, this gearbox is going to stay at its optimum performance. Tata Motors claims that this gearbox also has machine learning abilities, so it will adapt depending on your driving style and depending on the driver who is driving this car. Now I think that is just too much of marketing talk, but whatever it is, Tata Motors is at least offering it to us with this package. The brand has filed up to 45 patents on this new DCA gearbox. So this is clearly a new gearbox. ये पूरी तरह से कंपनी ने नया बनाया है and the focus has been on the Indian driving condition. Tata Motors का कहना है that there are up to 35% less moving parts in this DCA gearbox, so that is going to make it long-term reliable. To offer you good performance and fast gear shifts, Tata Motors ने इस gearbox के साथ shift by wire technology का इस्तेमाल किया है and the brand claims that the gear shifts will happen in just 250 milliseconds. इस gearbox के साथ आपको auto park lock functionality भी मिल रही है, which means that if you step out of the car and the engine is still running and if you forgot to slot it into park mode, ये ऑटो पार्क लॉक एक्टिवेट हो जाएगा एंड योर कार विल नॉट मूव फॉरवर्ड. सो दैट इज अ गुड सेफ्टी फीचर टू हैव इन एन ऑटोमेटिक गियरबॉक्स, especially if you are new to automatics. Another interesting feature that you are getting with this gearbox is self-healing mechanism. Tata Motors का कहना है that if there is excess dust which enters in the gearbox section, the gearbox is smart enough to evacuate that dust, to remove that dust from the gearbox so that there is no damage caused to the gearbox and so that your performance stays at its peak. And also you are going to get driver assist features, which means that if you are in the car and if you switch off the engine and if you have not slotted the gearbox in park mode, आपको स्पीडोमीटर क्लस्टर के डिजिटल डिस्प्ले में एक नोटिफिकेशन नजर आएगी which will prompt you to shift to park before you get out of your vehicle. Now those are all the features which you get with this Tata Altroz DCA. The brand has put in a lot of effort to design and develop this gearbox and to ensure that it meets and exceeds the customer expectation. But is that true? That is what we are here to find out. अभी इस गाड़ी के माइलेज के बारे में बात कर लेते हैं बिकॉज इट इज अ 1.2 लीटर नेचुरली एस्पिरेटेड 3 सिलेंडर मोटर मैच्ड टू अ 6 स्पीड ड्यूअल क्लच ऑटोमेटिक. ये गाड़ी जो है आपको लॉन्ग ड्राइव्स पे लगभग 15 से 16 किलोमीटर पर लीटर का माइलेज ऑफर कर देगी. देयर विल नॉट बी एनी प्रॉब्लम इन गेटिंग दैट माइलेज फिगर विथ 2 to 3 पीपल ऑन बोर्ड. अगर आप शहरों में इस गाड़ी का इस्तेमाल करने वाले हो इन बम्पर टू बम्पर ट्रैफिक, योर माइलेज फिगर इज गोइंग टू रेंज बिटवीन 10 to 11 kmpl, maybe in single digits if you are stuck in a lot of traffic, but then you still have the convenience of an automatic. Combined, I think आपको लगभग 13 से 14 kmpl का माइलेज आसानी से मिल जाएगा इस गाड़ी के साथ if your daily commute includes highway driving and city driving. So that is a respectable number. This is a heavy hatch, this is a safe hatch, and now it is a comfortable and convenient hatch thanks to this DCA gearbox. So that mileage figure is good enough in my books. But there are a few missing features with this Tata Altroz DCA. सबसे पहले तो आपको कोई भी ड्राइविंग मोड्स नहीं मिलते हैं. You do not get eco, normal और sport drive modes. आपको ये सभी मोड्स जो हैं नॉर्मल 1.2 लीटर मैनुअल पेट्रोल इंजन ऑप्शन के साथ मिल जाते हैं and you also get it with the 1.2 लीटर आई टर्बो वेरिएंट. लेकिन ये DCA वेरिएंट के साथ आपको ये ऑप्शन नहीं मिलते हैं. यू ओनली गेट स्टैंडर्ड ड्राइव मोड या आपको मैनुअल टिप्ट्रॉनिक फंक्शनैलिटी मिल जाती है. दैट इज इट. ड्राइव मोड का जो बटन हुआ करता है वहां पे आपको डोर लॉक अनलॉक सेंट्रल लॉकिंग का बटन अभी इस वेरिएंट में दिया गया है. सो दैट इज समथिंग दैट यू हैव टू कीप इन माइंड. ऑल्सो इस गाड़ी के साथ आपको ऑटो स्टार्ट स्टॉप फंक्शनैलिटी नहीं मिल रही है, सो यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू सेव दैट एक्स्ट्रा बिट ऑफ फ्यूल, यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू बी दैट मच मोर क्लीनर एंड ग्रीनर to the environment. So that is also a missing feature. Not that I really like that feature or I am going to miss that feature, but it is just something that you are not getting with this variant, and the other variants do offer it to you. But I know that few of you guys watching this video, you all are not interested in the sensible bit. You all don't want to know about the commuter friendly nature of this engine and gearbox. You want to know if this DCA is exciting enough to drive. You want to know if this car can sprint hard and if it can sprint fast. So I am going to come to a standstill and we are going to kick that accelerator pedal. So I am at a standstill. The Altroz DCA is in standard D mode. Manual mode का मैं इस्तेमाल नहीं कर रहा हूँ. And now I am going to kick the throttle pedal. So keep listening to the engine. So, इतना इंजन का आवाज आपको कैबिन में सुनाई देगा. It is a 1.2 लीटर 3 सिलेंडर मोटर. It is not very rev happy और हायर रेव्स पे थोड़ी ज्यादा इंजन वाइन आपको कैबिन में जरूर सुनाई देती है. I am going to do that one more time, and this time also try to notice the head nod that I am going to feel when I drive it hard and fast. So in 3, 2, 1, slow off the line. तो आपने सुना होगा इंजन का कितना आवाज कैबिन में सुनाई देता है. There is nothing you can do about it. And एक और चीज आपने देखी होगी, हेड नॉड इज नॉट टू मच. हेड नॉड जो है वो आपको थोड़ा बहुत इनिशियल गियर्स में जरूर फील होता है, बट लेटर इन द हायर गियर्स द हेड नॉड इज not at all something that is going to disturb you or make you uncomfortable. It is quite a smooth gearbox overall, and you get a nice jerk free driving experience. Just for that head nod bit, I am going to slow down one more time, and then I am going to floor the accelerator pedal. But this time I am going to take manual control over the gearbox. Now in first gear, and keep listening to the engine. There are no paddle shifts, so I have to use this Tiptronic functionality. I have to make use of this gear stick to upshift. So in 3, 2, 1. Very minor head nod. I mean, it's almost negligible. You will only feel it if you are trying really hard to notice it. Otherwise, it feels just as smooth as any other dual clutch automatic that you can buy out there in the Indian car market. And I think in terms of seamlessness, in terms of smoothness, Tata Motors is offering us a good product, a good gearbox. Compared to the AMT gearboxes, which we have seen on plenty of Tata cars currently on sale, this DCA is much better than those in terms of shift quality, shift response and smoothness. So if you want an automatic and if you want a Tata car, I would blindly recommend this Altroz DCA. अभी अगर आप मैनुअल मोड का इस्तेमाल कर रहे हो, if you are making use of this Tiptronic functionality, let me tell you that the gear shifts are almost torque converter like. They are not lightning quick like DSGs or DCTs from other car manufacturers. So I think that is an area of improvement for Tata Motors with this gearbox. The brand claims that the gear shifts are happening in roughly 250 milliseconds, but then it still can feel and be a little faster than what it is to give us that thrill of driving with this Altroz DCA. Whenever I upshift or downshift, the animation is a little slow on the MID, but even the shift is slow because you can notice it on the tachometer section. So you will notice that after you give that shift input, upshift or downshift, not that it is going to change your life if it happens much faster, it is just that you will definitely notice it. Another important point to make note of जब भी आप manual mode का इस्तेमाल कर रहे हो, if you are at a speed which is higher for a lower gear, ये गाड़ी जो है आपको downshift करने नहीं देगी. Whenever you will try to downshift too aggressively, you will get a drive control shift denied warning on your MID. So it will tell you that you are at a higher speed and that lower gear is not going to cope up with that speed. And by the way, अगर आप manual mode में इस गाड़ी को चला रहे हो and if you suddenly feel the need for speed and if you accelerate hard, if you kick that throttle pedal to the metal, ऐसा नहीं है that the car will bounce on the rev limiter. If your throttle is pinned, the car will upshift by itself even in manual mode. So check it out right now. I am in third gear, driving at close to 50 kilometers per hour. Now kicking the pedal. Keep listening to the engine. The car will rev up to 6000 RPM and after that it will upshift by itself, and I am still in manual mode. So what you can do is, if you want to exploit all the power and torque that is on offer, if you want to exploit the maximum revs that this engine and gearbox can deliver, you can stay in manual mode and actually make use of the manual mode as sport mode for better acceleration. So that is a finer detail. इस गाड़ी में आपको कोई sport mode नहीं मिल रहा है. You can make use of the manual mode as your sport mode. Standard D mode में जब आप गाड़ी चला लोगे, when you are just feathering the throttle, your upshifts are going to happen much sooner in the rev range, ताकि आपको बेहतर माइलेज मिल सके और आपका जो मोमेंटम गेन है वो अच्छे से प्रोग्रेसिव तरीके से आपको मिलते रहे, and you know you don't feel too many jerks and the engine noise is not heard too much inside the cabin, so that you are stress free. Now I'm going to come to a standstill one more time, and this time मैं आपको बताने वाला हूँ what are the ideal shift points अगर आप manual mode में इस गाड़ी को चलाने वाले हो. So I have slotted it in manual mode and let's start. By the way, जब आप सिर्फ throttle release कर देते हो, इस गाड़ी के साथ आपको creep functionality मिल रही है, crawl functionality मिल रही है. So this Altroz DCA is going to drive close to 10 kmph. I guess it is almost 8 to 9 kmph. When I am gently feathering the throttle pedal, जब मैं ज़्यादा hard accelerate नहीं कर रहा हूँ, the upshift prompts are at close to 2250 RPM. So that is a relaxed state of tune. और जब आप manual mode में इस rev range में upshift करते रहोगे, आपको अच्छा माइलेज मिलते जाएगा. But then if you want to drive sedately, why not just drive it in standard D mode? Why do you want to put in effort of upshifting at an ideal rev range when you have the convenience of an automatic? अभी roll on acceleration check out करते हैं. I am driving this car at 60 kilometers per hour and when I kick the pedal, listen to the engine at 80, 90, and now I have touched 100 kilometers per hour. So when you are driving in a sedate manner and if you suddenly kick the throttle pedal, it does take a split second to understand that you now need more power, you are demanding more acceleration, and the engine first builds up the revs and after that you start picking up pace. तो ये चीज़ भी आप definitely notice करोगे, and it is more pronounced because of the amount of engine noise that is heard inside the cabin. I am going to demonstrate that to you one more time. So I am again at 60 kilometers per hour and now after I kick it, it takes a second or two, but after that it starts picking up pace nicely, and this is reasonable performance. Not exciting performance, but reasonable performance. And also I want to reiterate, compared to every other AMT that Tata Motors is selling, this Altroz DCA is just in a league of its own. It is just so much smoother and it is so much smarter. The AMTs sometimes they just feel dumb. Now driving within city limits, this engine and gearbox combination is very relaxed and very convenient, and it is much better than any AMT that you can buy. So इस सेगमेंट में आपको सिर्फ Hyundai के i20 के साथ अभी एक DCT ऑटोमेटिक गियरबॉक्स ऑप्शन मिल रहा है. Maruti Suzuki has moved back to an AMT with their Baleno, which is a premium hatchback. That car used to get a CVT. It doesn't get it anymore. The Altroz DCA and the i20 DCT are the more premium options in terms of the gearbox technology that you can buy. So commuting inside the city, it feels smooth, effortless and jerk free. Right now I am at a signal and this car doesn't get auto hold functionality, so if you release your brake pedal, गाड़ी जो है आगे क्रॉल करने वाली है. So keep that in mind. You will have to shift to neutral or park if you are at a standstill. सिटी स्पीड पे जब आप इस गाड़ी को चला रहे हो, in your initial gears, sometimes you might notice some head nod, but it is not going to disturb you too much. It is not going to make you feel uncomfortable too much. Within the city, this gearbox performs just as you expect it to. It is very convenient and it offers you the comfort and effortless nature of a two-pedal drive. So आपको ज़्यादा मेहनत नहीं करनी है and I really like it. इस गाड़ी के साथ आपको पैडल शिफ्ट्स नहीं दिए गए हैं, but then I think it is justified. This motor is not really all that rev happy and there is not too much of power and performance to exploit. So not having paddle shifts is something that I don't want to complain about. Paddle shifts would have been an overkill and it would have just increased the pricing of this Altroz DCA. अगर आपको मैन्युअली गियर चेंजेस करने हैं, आप इस गियर स्टिक का जरूर इस्तेमाल कर सकते हो. सिटी स्पीड्स पे इंजन नॉइज जो है वो आपको फर्स्ट और सेकंड गियर में ही सुनाई देगा. आफ्टर दैट, once you pick up pace, once you have built momentum, the engine noise is also not something that will disturb you in the cabin of this Altroz DCA. Tata Altroz को हम पहले भी रिव्यू कर चुके हैं and all of the previous points still stay true. The steering wheel is light and it is effortless inside the city. This is a very easy to manage car. It is a very easy to understand car. हाईवे पे स्टीयरिंग व्हील जो है काफ़ी अच्छे से वे अप हो जाता है. सेंटर में थोड़ा डेड एरिया ज़रूर है, लेकिन फिर भी इट गिव्स यू रीजनेबल फील एंड फीडबैक एंड you get a good sense of where the wheels are pointed. So driving this car hard and fast around a twisty road, you will not have any problem. The ride quality, just like every other Tata car, it is fantastic and this Tata Altroz can just drive over the worst of terrain with absolute ease. ये एक प्रीमियम हैचबैक है, लेकिन फिर भी ग्राउंड क्लियरेंस काफ़ी जेनरस है and you will not find yourself scraping the underbelly of this car frequently, even on the largest of speed breakers here on the Indian streets. So overall, this is a very well balanced product. There is not too much of body roll when you give sudden lane change inputs and it stays very well in your control. So ये गाड़ी जो है, ये जो Tata Altroz है, it will follow the line that you want it to and it will be a very predictable car to drive, so that you can have a lot of fun with this dual clutch automatic combination that you are getting now. हाई स्पीड्स पे ये गाड़ी आपको काफ़ी अच्छी राइड क्वालिटी ऑफर करती है. इट स्टेज नाइस एंड फ्लैट इवन एट ट्रिपल डिजिट स्पीड्स. ज़्यादा वॉफ्टीनेस नहीं है, ज़्यादा वर्टिकल मूवमेंट नहीं है. So you will be very very comfortable as a driver and even your passengers inside the cabin will be very very happy. खराब से खराब रास्तों पे से आपको गाड़ी में ज़्यादा झटके भी फील नहीं होते हैं. So just like every other Tata car, your in-car experience is very good and it is very very comfortable. ब्रेकिंग परफॉर्मेंस भी काफ़ी अच्छा है. टायर्स जो हैं वो भी आपको काफ़ी अच्छी ग्रिप ऑफर करते हैं. यू गेट गुड ईयर अश्योरेंस टायर्स एंड I think they have done a fine job, at least in today's review drive experience. मैं 3.5 घंटों से इस गाड़ी को चला रहा हूँ and I have no complaints in that department. Talking about overall NVH, listen to this. We are currently driving on the Mumbai-Pune Expressway and at 90 kilometers per hour. ज़्यादा engine noise cabin में सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है because right now at 90 kmph the engine RPM is close to 2200. The engine noise is only heard inside the cabin when you are very demanding from this 3-cylinder motor. Wind noise cabin के अंदर creep in नहीं हो रही है. थोड़ा बहुत टायर रोलिंग साउंड आपको कैबिन में जरूर सुनाई देगा, बट देन दैट इज समथिंग दैट यू विल नोटिस इन एनी अदर कार इन दिस सेगमेंट व्हेन यू आर ड्राइविंग ऑन अ कंक्रीट रोड. ये गाड़ी एक 2 पेडल ड्राइव है. इट इज वेरी कंफर्टेबल इन द फुटवेल एरिया. आपको एक जेनरस डेड पेडल मिल जाता है एंड द पेडल प्लेसमेंट इज ऑल्सो क्वाइट आइडियल, सो यू विल हैव नो कंप्लेंट्स इन टर्म्स ऑफ कीपिंग योर फीट कंफर्टेबल ऑन दैट लॉन्ग ड्राइव. ऑल्सो फॉर योर लॉन्ग ड्राइव कन्वीनियंस इस गाड़ी के साथ आपको क्रूज कंट्रोल भी दिया गया है. In terms of ergonomics, we never had any problems with the Tata Altroz and even now we have no complaints. ये जो gear stick है, it is short and when you want to manually make those gear changes, the gear shift movement is nice and short, so it does feel sporty. और ये जो gear stick है, it fits in your hand quite nicely, so you will like this too. So guys, what is your opinion? कैसी लगी आपको ये टाटा एल्ट्रॉज DCA? डू यू थिंक दिस ऑटोमेटिक गियर बॉक्स इज गुड इनफ? क्या आपको लगता है ये टाटा एल्ट्रॉज का DCA वर्जन जो है, इज इट बेटर देन दी Hyundai i20 DCT? बिकॉज दैट इज दिस कार्स प्राइमरी राइवल. नाउ इफ यू हैव एनी अदर क्वेरीज अबाउट दिस कार, you can ask me in the comments below. I hope that you have liked this video because we have tried our best to share with you all the information that you need to know before bringing this car home. See you soon. See you in another video. Subscribe to the Shifting Gears channel. Press that bell icon. Stay notified. Always drive safe and always follow those speed limits.